And that which has to be said isn't just in Pshat, it's even in Zod. Okay? So if you take this fact,
okay, we're just waiting for the class before to finish. Okay, we ready? Yeah. Okay.
Recording stopped.
Good morning, Bibas.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Both Rachel said good morning at the same time.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Okay. And good morning.
Recording in progress.
Good morning on YouTube. Right now, actually, is the funeral of Mishpachat Bibas, and I was watching it before I came here on the line, and it's probably going to be over by the time we finish the class. Sorry, my voice is a little bit schwach. Today, I am getting over being not feeling great, but I'm getting better, Bezrat Hashem.
Before Shalema.
Amen to everybody who needs a refuah.
Amen. We dedicated the shiurim Leilui Nishmatan today.
Okay, so let me read to you what Sarah Vardak has sent me. Let me see if I could do this at the same time as talk to you. 1 second. This is a very remarkable thing. Maybe you heard it already. I just heard this morning that that this Shiri, Alea Shalom, she has a sister who looks very much like her. And the sister was saying, 1 second, the sister, I didn't hear this, but let me see if I could find it. Yeah. It seems that this Shiri's sister, whose name is Ophiri, I guess they have nicknames, in that family. So Ophir is a name, and she calls her Ophiri. She is Yarden's sister, the father's sister. So she called her two murdered nephews by their nicknames, Luli and Parpar. Luli is Ariel, and Parpar is Kfir. Somehow they gave them those nicknames, Luli and Parpar. Parpar means a butterfly. And Luli sounds like from Ariel. So the Gemara says that there was the person who wrote this, that she sent it to me, and it's going around the whole internet, the Jewish internet. There's a Gemara that says that during the times of the Romans, there was a Roman girl who was murdered. And the Caesar at the time said that if the Jews don't find who is the murderer, he's going to kill all the Jews. So that's, anti-Semitism is not a new thing. And Hashem wants us to see how we do not belong with the nations of the world. We just don't. the nations of the world who can murder and strangle little babies with their own hands and get pleasure from that, and then desecrate their bodies. We don't belong with those kinds of people. Anyway, in the times of the Gemara, there was a Caesar, this Roman guy, and he said, if you don't find the murderer of his daughter, he's going to kill all the Jews. So there were these two Jewish brothers. One was named as Lulianus, the other was named as Pappus. And they decided that they're going to admit to the murder, and that way they'll be killed, but the rest of the Jewish people will not be killed. And they came before the emperor, and they admitted the murder. The emperor understood it. He saw that they were not guilty, but he decided to kill them anyway. And the Jewish people were saved from being killed. These two little children had the same exact names. Their nicknames were Lulianus and Pappus. Luli and Parpar, same names. So what do we know? What do we know? Maybe they came back again. And they were killed a long time ago, a year and a half ago. We just didn't know it. And now their little bodies are being brought back to Eretz Yisrael and being put into the graves. Who knows how much suffering their deaths averted. We don't understand these kinds of things. We're never allowed to make these kinds of definite associations. But the names of these two little children, the nicknames, that we didn't know that was their nickname. It's just the sister of Mr. Yarden Bibas. She just said their nicknames. And right away, all the Torah scholars perked up their eyes and said, that's their nicknames? These are the same names as those two Jews who in the times of the Talmud sacrificed their life so that the Jewish people and a majority of Jews should not be killed. So the ways of Hashem are mysterious, and we don't begin to understand them. But we know that everything that's happening here is on two levels. There's one level that we see. One level that we see in terms of what goes on in the world. The physical level is what we see. We don't see the spiritual dynamic that's underneath the physical level. We don't hear the souls talking to each other. We don't understand the language of soul, of neshama. We just hear the language of body. And that's because from the beginning of time, from the beginning of humanity, when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden because they didn't follow God's command, so right away Hashem took away the ability to see reality. And what we see is literally a virtual reality. We see physicality, but we don't see the underpinnings of what's going on. And because we don't see the underpinnings of what's going on, we have confusion and we have sadness and we have, all kinds of questions. And if we would only see what's really going on, we wouldn't have questions. And that's why Chazal tell us that when Mashiach comes, the revealed light, the Or HaGanuz, the light to be able to see reality, will finally be revealed again. And we'll look around and we'll see a whole different reality. Right now, we can't imagine what that is because we're only living in this reality. But when Mashiach comes, what does that mean when Mashiach comes? It means that Hashem will finally end the exile of the entire world, not just the Jewish people, but the whole world is in exile. And the whole world cannot see godliness and reality and the inner dimensions of this world. The world doesn't see them. When Mashiach comes, people always say, how are we going to know when Mashiach comes? It's such a moot question because your reality will change. Our reality will change. Right now, the only ones who live in that mindset are the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim, those special souls that God sprinkles in every generation. And in every generation we have these special souls. And all of the special souls of the tzaddikim are the souls of the potential of Mashiach. And in every generation we have them. And they are already living in this mindset. They see reality. They don't see the silliness that we get caught up in. That's why they laugh at us when we do anything that isn't meaningful, that isn't holy. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, right? He lived in the reality of reality. He saw reality. And he said to people, how in the world do you waste time not learning Torah? Why are you planting and crops and farming? And what are you doing? Are you crazy? And they said, but Rebbe, we have to live. This is the way of the world. And he saw, Hashem said, you have to go back into the cave another year to come down a little bit so that you can have a dual reality. And now, tzaddikim live on two. Excuse me. Bless you too. I know you're all saying bless you. Bless you too. Tzaddikim live on at least two realities, the reality that we're living in and their real reality. And that reality, and they know how to juggle back and forth from understanding our reality and understanding, the real reality. When the cold comes out already, you feel a little bit better, but you sound terrible. Yesterday I couldn't even talk. Baruch Hashem, today I'm able to talk, even though I sound so. Anyway, Baruch Hashem for the cold weather. Baruch Hashem for all the good things. Okay, so the reality that we're living in right now is that there's a funeral going on in the South, and there are people crying and people trying to feel unity and achdus, and that's the reality that humans are feeling. But the real reality is in Shemayim, these two little neshamas, or two gigantic neshamas, and their mama who accompany them, are in the highest places. It says in that medrash that I just quoted you, in that Gemara that I just quoted you, nobody can come close to the resting place of those two Papas and Lulianos. Nobody can come close. Not even the greatest tzaddikim could come close to where they're resting in Gan Eden. So in Shemayim, these neshamas they're very satisfied with what they accomplished, because they know what they accomplished. We do not know yet what they accomplished, but they do know what they accomplished. And they're satisfied, and Hashem is hugging them, and He should just comfort the families, that's all, and bring Mashiach already in a revealed way, so that we all get lifted up to be able to see the correct reality, the true reality. Okay, this Shabbos is a very, very big Shabbos, right? It's Rosh Chodesh. First of all, the Shabbos. Thank you, Hashem, that we have Shabbos every week. Hashem gives us this gift for eternity. And it's a gift that He Himself told Moshe Rabbeinu, I have a precious treasure to give the Jewish people, and it's called Shabbos. And here, presented to them. And that's why it says by Shacharis of Shabbos, we say in the Shemona Esrei, Yismach Moshe b'matanan chelko. Moshe Rabbeinu should be happy with the gift that was given from him to the Jewish people, from God through Moshe to the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu should be happy with that, because he was the one who taught us about Shabbos. And Hashem said, I'm giving you Shabbos, it's eternal. It's stamped into creation. It's not something that we have to do. A holiday, we have to mekadesh we have to sanctify the month, and in olden days or nowadays we have to just check the calendar. But Shabbos and the holiday could be like this year Purim, right? What's happening on Purim? Purim Yerushalayim comes out on Shabbat, because Purim Chutz Yerushalayim, regular Purim, comes out Thursday night and Friday, and then Friday night and Shabbos is Purim Yerushalayim. But we can't celebrate Purim Yerushalayim on Friday night and Shabbos, because you can't do the mitzvah. You can't read the Megillah because of carrying. You can't give Matanat Levinim money. You can't give Mishlach Manot. Okay, a Suda you can have. But we push off Shabbos, Purim Yerushalayim to Motzei Shabbos, Saturday night, and Sunday. So holidays you can play like that. Shabbos, we don't play. It's built into the system. So this Shabbos is, first of all, Shabbos. So you can't imagine how I'm looking forward to Shabbos. Um, then it's Rosh Chodesh. It's the first day of the month of Adar. And this year, interestingly, the Goyish month of March, the second month of March, and the month of Adar coincide by the day. So Aleph Adar is Shabbos, and March 1st is Shabbos. Goes till the end of the month. And of course, it doesn't follow through. But if you've been noticing, our months in English and in Hebrew have been parallel. So, like today is 26th in English and 28th in Hebrew. Yeah. It's also Parsha Shkolim. We read about the Machatzis HaShekel. The Machatzis HaShekel, every single Jew once a year paid tax. How much did they pay? A half a shekel. And what was the payment for? So that every single Jew, first of all, could be counted, but that was secondary. The primary reason that we paid the half a shekel was so that each Jew should be included in the service of the Mishkan and the Beis Hamikdash, because with all of that money, they purchased the animals needed for the sacrifices in the temple, and the spices, and all the expenses of the temple. We all Jews paid for that, and by paying your half a shekel, the shekel hakodesh, whether you were poor or rich, everybody paid the same exact tax, and by paying that tax, you had a participation, a chaylik, a portion in everything that goes on in the temple. So reading about that, we always read about that in the Shabbos of Adar, in the beginning of Adar. And what else is it? It's 2 weeks before Purim. Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, and Shkolim. Yeah. And it's Parshas Teruma. The Torah portion is the Parshas Teruma. We have 5 Parshios now, preparing us and then actually building the Mishkan. Now, I'm going to tell you how Hashem is so kind to me and to you, because maybe you also had this question. Every year, when it comes to these Parshios, I always ask, Hashem, why did you make 5 or 4.5? Because one Parsha has half the Parsha Perikla and Beis is the Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf. But the majority of the Parshios of these Truma Tzav Kitzisa Vayakal Pekudei are all about the building and the construction of the Mishkan. So why did Hashem say so many Parshios? First, the first 2 Parshas, Truma Tetzaveh, is when God is commanding Moshe Rabbeinu what to do. And then Vayakal Pekudei is the actual carrying out, the building, the actual physical doing of what Hashem told us to do. So it's the command to do it, and then the actual doing it, the actual construction. So why did Hashem spend so much time in the parashas about this, which was only going to be a temporary? And the Mishkan was in English, they called it the tabernacle, and it was only a temporary structure. They used to take it down, put it up, take it down, put it up, and then when they came into Eretz Yisrael, they had it in Shiloh, and then they made it into the Beis Hamikdash and Yerushalayim HaKodesh. And so we had this whole tabernacle for like 1,200 years, even more. But the actual building now of the building of it, I always wanted Hashem to be more specific with some of the mitzvot that people have a harder time with. Like, for example, all the malachos of Shabbos. Did I ever tell you my funny joke? My funny joke was that when Corona first began, that's when the Siyum Hashas happened. The Siyum Hashas happened around that same time. I don't remember the exact. I could look it up. I don't remember the exact. But I remember I saw the Siyum Hashas, the worldwide Siyum Hashas, and where was it? Madison Square Garden or someplace like that, or some arena in New Jersey. I don't remember where. And it was so miragesh, so miragesh. It was so emotional and so inspiring. And I was so proud of the Jewish people for finishing Shas. And then he started whoever it was who was giving a speech was saying that now they're starting it again. They're starting Shas again. And he mentioned that the first Masechta of Shas is Gemara Brachot. Brachos. So I thought to myself, wow, I really need strengthening in making brachas properly. I want to always make a bracha out loud, a blessing before we eat, and the blessings on all the mitzvot. I want to be mechazik myself. I want to strengthen myself in saying bracha. So I said, okay. And they were advertising all these fun Daf Yomi classes. So I said, let me listen to a few of these Daf Yomi classes on Gemara Brachos. Maybe it'll strengthen my bracha observance. And anyway, I listened to the Gemara Brachos, and I kept waiting to see when they're going to talk about Brachos. They don't talk about Brachos, very little. Gemara is not what you think it is. So I was waiting and waiting to learn about, what every word means and how they constructed the bracha and the kavanot and the thoughts that you're supposed to have behind it. I had all these plans that I was going to be with these, upgrading my brachas, and it didn't happen. But I enjoyed listening to the Daf Yomi Shir, so I figured, all right, let me listen. It was very nice, and so I listened. Okay, then you would think I learned. Then there was a big siyum on brachos, and I was so proud of myself. Not that I learned it really. I just listened to a shir every day, and I bought myself the kind of brachos with the Gemara soft covered with the farshim, and it was fun. When I was in elementary school, I learned Gemara, so I didn't. It's not like it was foreign to me. I knew the structure of the page and whatever. And then they were starting Gemara Shabbos, the second Masechta is Shabbos. I said, I have to strengthen myself in Shabbos observance. So I began to listen to the Shabbos. And then, I think if I'm not mistaken, all the 39 malachos are written in one page. You have a whole, 100 and something pages of Gemara Shabbos. And all the, you want to hear the details of how exactly do I make egg salad on Shabbos? And how exactly do I take the bones out of the fish, or can I take the bones out of the fish when I'm eating it? You want to learn those halachas. It's not in the Gemara. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. Anyway, why did I tell you that? Because I always wondered why the Torah spends so much time talking about things that were once in a lifetime occasions and not on other topics that I would prefer elucidation. Listen to what Rabbi Nosson says. Rabbi Nosson quotes Chazal and says, where did I write it? 1 second. Okay, I didn't write it down. I'm going to have to paraphrase it. It says, here. It says in Likutei Halachos, Mishkan bevinyano u'mishkan bechurbanei afilu kashehem charevim maginim al Yisrael. Listen to this amazing teaching. It says, Rabbi Nosson brings it down Likutei Halachos, or Chaim, Hilchos Brachos, Birkas HaShachar, Halacha Hey, subsection Mem Hey, if you want to look it up. He says this exact question that I asked, he answers it. And I was just learning the Parsha with a little bit of Likutei Halachos, and all of a sudden I see Rabbi Nosson answers my question that I've had for forever. I was so grateful to Hashem, because I'll tell you the answer. Rabbi Nosson says, every year on Parshas Teruma, Tetzava, Kitisa, Vayakal Pekudei, and the whole book of Vayikra, which is all about the Karbanot, every year when we're reading them, even though we're not doing them, it's still protecting us as if we were doing it, as if we're building the Mishkan this week. So this week, Hashem is telling everybody, this week and next week, Hashem is instructing us how to build a Mishkan. We'll talk about that in a second. And then 2 weeks and 3, and then the next 3 weeks after, Hashem is building the Mishkan. We're building the Mishkan. And Hashem is crediting us as if we actually wove the embroidery and smelted the gold and cut the wood and weaved the weavings. And exactly as if we were doing it, and the same spiritual energy that we had when we were actually doing this the first time is reignited. It's coming back. And it says it's protecting us. Mishkan b'churbanei. It's called Maginim al Yisrael. It protects the Jewish people, and we need a lot of protection now. A chutzpah. How is such a chutzpah that the Arabs? Really, it gets funnier and funnier that Hamas should have the nerve to say that during their Ramadan, which by the way parallels Adar, which is good for us because Adar is a good luck month for the Jews, so it's a bad luck month for the enemies of the Jews. So their Ramadan parallels Adar, and the Israeli government, because we're in a war, is trying to limit the people who are coming to the old city. And even though they go by the back door, they don't come into the old city. They go by the door that's facing Har HaZeisim. And the church is on the other side of Har HaZeisim. That's the back. They go the back entrance onto Har HaBayit. And still, the Israeli government is saying, no, we're in a war with you. You're not coming in. We're limiting it to people to men over and women over a certain age, no kids, no teenagers, no young people, etc. And Hamas, of all people, the stranglers of beautiful babies, they have the nerve to say that we have no right to tell them what to do on the Har HaBayit. It's theirs. As if, they had any history, which they don't. As if they have any connection to the Har HaBayit, which they don't. When they daven on the Har HaBayit, as you all know, they face Mecca and Medina. They face Saudi Arabia. They don't face the Har HaBayit. Hashem is trying to make it. I just keep saying this over and over again. Why is Hashem doing this? One of the reasons that comes to me is Hashem wants all the Israelis to do tshuva. If you're an Israeli, if you live here, you have a very, very big soul. And Hashem wants all the Israelis to do teshuva. He wants all the Jews all over the world to do tshuva, but especially the Jews who are living here in the Holy Land in Eretz Yisrael. And the only way for Jews to do teshuva is if they let go of the belief in the Israeli government. And if they let go of the reliance on the Israeli army. We can't rely on them. Today they're going to release a report. It's crazy that it's going to be the same day as the Slavia. They're releasing a report describing how come, the failures that how come October 7th happened. And, they said that they released part of it. Of course, there were always these leaks because it's so silly. Everything is so silly. And the leaks were leaked before the families of the Tatzpaniot were informed. That means before the families of those girls who were the lookouts who were murdered and kidnapped, before they were shown the report, it was leaked to some kind of a press. And the press released it. You know what press does. Nobody has integrity. They just want to get the story out first. And they released the story before the families were able to process what happened to their daughters. So it's going to be released today that at 4 a.m. that day, they already knew what was happening, and they told the army to stand back and not to go in, not to save anybody. How could you trust? I mean, the soldiers in the army are tzaddikim. The soldiers in the Israeli army are holy and righteous and good and perfect. But the higher ups who are running the whole show, the opposite of all the words I just said. And the Israelis have to come to that understanding, and Hashem is making it happen by showing them. Okay, so now, first of all, we know the answer to my question. Every year Hashem wants us to read these parshios. Now we're rebuilding the Mishkan, and it's protecting us for the whole upcoming year until next year when we read the parshas again. That's number one. Number two, in the beginning of the parsha, it says like this. It says that the whole Mishkan was one big act of charity, tzedakah, charity, from the Jewish people. Because the only people who were able to donate to the Mishkan were the people who really, really wanted to donate. Not people who were forced to donate. The half a shekel tax, that wasn't a donation to build the Mishkan. That was a donation to keep the Mishkan going, to pay all the bills, etc. But the creation, the actual building, the donation of substances, of gold and silver and silk and copper and diamonds and jewels, rubies, etc., and wood and fabrics and services, the weaving services of the women and all the services of Betzalel. All of those was only accepted if you had one thing, and that's called nidvat libo. Nidvat libo means my heart wants more than anything to give you, to gift to Hashem, to gift the Mishkan, to give to Hashem the Mishkan. That's what I want more than anything. Did you ever give a gift to somebody that you really, really love? You know that it gives you a lot of pleasure. Sometimes giving a gift actually is more pleasurable than receiving a gift. Sorry. It's so unprofessional to blow your nose on YouTube. Right? Now, if I had AI apps that knew how to cut that out, I would do that. But I'm not yet. I don't have such a AI app. So sorry. So what is Hashem telling us here? He's telling to us that these weeks, 5 weeks now we have of being told about the Mishkan and then constructing it, is open your heart to give. Open your heart to give. And now all the Jewish people are giving Yarden Bibas love. We're all sending him love. We don't know who he is. And if we met him in the street and it was before this happened and he cut us off in traffic or, whatever, we would probably be annoyed. But now we love him. He's a person whose whole life is being buried right now. So we're all giving right now. We're giving of ourselves. The best way to be happy is to give. It's such an important rule. The best way to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy, and everybody wants to have friends, and everybody wants to feel part of a community, and all of those things. It's all a pursuit of folly. Hevel havalim. You want to be happy? Stop thinking about yourself and why you're so sad and you're so lonely and you're so this and you're so that. Start to give to others. Just think about other people. That's why we say every single day before every mitzvah, we say, L'shem yichud kudshem v'yichud shchinte, b'shem kol Yisrael. I want to do every mitzvah to make unifications between Hashem and the Jewish people. And within the Jewish people, unification within the Jewish people. So stop thinking so much about yourself and start thinking about others. And how can you help? If you're alive, there's somebody in this world that you can help. Probably a lot of people that you can help. Figure it out. Don't just sit like, they have, so sad when people are in nursing homes and nobody comes to see them and they're just sitting around waiting to leave this world. Think about what you can do to help somebody. There's something that you can do. My mother, she should rest in peace, was so immobilized the last 2 years of her life. But she had a smile that could light up the world. And so I remember that my nephew and my niece and their baby came to Israel. And it was the first time she was meeting a great-grandchild. She didn't meet my grandchildren, but she met my brother's granddaughter, the oldest. And I remember she couldn't even keep her eyes open then. She had something with her muscles in her eyes. But she knew how to make a smile that, went from one end of her face to the other end of her face. And it just lit up the world when you could get her to smile. And that's what she knew. She could make people happy just by smiling. Okay. So first of all, we have to have me'ed kol ish asher nidvenu libo. We have to be a person who's giving of ourselves. It's funny because I have a cold already since Sunday already. I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't go to teach Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Baruch Hashem, I'm here, but I felt so like unuseful, unproductive, and I realized that it's very, very important to feel productive. And even when Hashem says to you, take a vacation right now, stay home, don't go anywhere. It's cold and you have a cold. Don't go anywhere. And it's Hashem saying that because, colds happen from Hashem also. But you have to feel like you're giving. You have to feel like you're doing for someone. So if there's something in your life that you're unfulfilled with, then try to give. Now, if you're giving advice to your grandchildren and they don't want to take it, I have 2 pieces of advice. Either figure out another thing to do with your life or realize that your grandchildren they hear you. They might not be able to accept right now what you're saying, but it's in there. You've planted a seed in them, and they will one day remember what you said. So either get another job or keep doing it and keep in a happy, positive, loving way. Keep telling them what to do, and it'll be stored someplace in their memory banks. And then one day they'll take it out and they'll say, "Oh, Bubby told me to do this, and she was right." Okay. The next thing, so we want to talk about this idea that this week we're giving of ourselves, and we're mechazeking, we're strengthening our ratzon. What is it that you want? Because it says that you gave to the Mishkan what you wanted to give, what you had a desire to give. And it's interesting, the Medrash tells us, and the Shem Yishmuel brings us down, because we'll learn the Shem Yishmuel a lot this year. The Shem Yishmuel brings us down that there were people who very much wanted to give things to the Mishkan, but they just didn't have. They didn't have gold and silver and copper and jewels, and they just didn't have. So Hashem checks the heart of each person. Hashem looks into the heart. And the people who truly, truly, without ego and without a desire for fame, but just because of the purity of their heart and the desire to give God, because they loved God so much, those people who really wanted to give to the Mishkan, when they went out to collect their man, all of a sudden they would find a piece of gold in their man. They would find a diamond, a ruby, a jewel in their man. And there was just a limited number of stones that were accepted in the Mishkan. But they would find precious gifts in their man that was by their doorstep. They would right away recognize it and say, I can't believe it. I always wanted to give to the Mishkan. And now look, I have a piece of gold. I have a nugget of gold. They would run to Moshe Rabbeinu and they would give it to him. So what mitzvahs you really, really want to do in this world, that's how you know if you really want something, is if God gives you the opportunity to fulfill it. If a Jew wants to do a mitzvah, the Talmud says, if a Jew wants to do a mitzvah and for some reason is prevented, but they really want to do the mitzvah, it's as if they did the mitzvah. They get credit, spiritual credit, as if they did the mitzvah. They get the reward for it in this world and in the next world. But we would like to actually do the mitzvah. So the people who really, really wanted to do the mitzvah, but was chaser mashu, it was like 90%. They got credit as if they did the mitzvah, but they didn't actually get the mitzvah done. But the people who 1,000% wanted to give what they had, just tell me what to do and I'll give you. Those people were given the opportunity to actually physically give to the Mishkan. And that's what the Shem Yishmuel says, that the Jewish people were overjoyed whenever they were able to give something to the Mishkan. Did you ever bring a gift to let's say, I don't know, who do somebody that you really, really love, but you're not quite sure how they're going to accept the gift or whether they will accept it, whether they'll like it or not. Yeah? Little kids don't worry about that. They just know that whatever they give their moms, the mom will like. I remember, when my son was little and he went to a bazaar. One of these, there was an activity in the shul. So my mother-in-law took him to a bazaar. With these things, everything is 1 penny, 2 pennies. And he was so excited. He brought me back a string of beads, tiny little beads. And he was 5 years old, 6 years old. And he was so excited. I have them still. It's over 40 years ago. No, not really. Yeah. Because when you give from your heart, then the love comes into the physical action that you're doing. It literally transforms the physicality into something higher. That's why it's such a big deal when women cook for their families. I know this is a very tricky subject, depending on your age and your culture. Already my students tell me, 10 years ago, they don't cook. They buy, they get takeout, they get delivery. You know, the very famous, there's a funny, I don't know what you call it, like a clip I saw. Here in Yerushalayim, we have a very good takeout place called Goldie's. I'm not advertising for them. They don't know me and I don't know them. But I know that my friend buys a lot from them. So there was a funny advertising that was on the Jewish media. Did you see it? It's a lady, it's on Friday, and she's coming into her house with like 20 bags from Goldie's. And she's saying, quick, I got to get it all into the pots. So they should think that I cooked it. And her husband calls her on the phone. He says, hi, honey, what are you doing? And she's, what am I doing? It's Erev Shabbos. What do you think I'm doing? I'm with the food. I'm cooking. And meanwhile, she's taking all the salatim and all the food and the soups and the meats and the kugels and everything. And she's quickly taking them and putting them all into her own pots and putting them on the plata on the blech. So there are people, who do that. But when you cook for somebody and you put love into your cooking, that food doesn't taste regular. It's not physical food at all. I remember my mother, I mentioned her before. She should rest in peace. Some of you remember my mother. She should be a good debater for all of Klal Yisrael. She was a very, very precious person, a very, very sweet and loving. And I don't think she had an enemy in the world in all of her years. Anyway, so when I used to go visit her, I would ask her to make me a cup of coffee. Now listen, what's to make a cup of coffee? I don't even think I used milk in the coffee. She put in, you boil up coffee, and you put a spoon of coffee in a cup, and you pour the boiling water onto the coffee. And then, what's coffee? But I want to tell you something. When my mother made me a cup of coffee, it tasted very different than any other cup of coffee that anybody ever made me. My mother and my aunt, her sister, my aunt Alice, they should both have a good rest of the night and daven for us strong and come back soon. When they made coffee, they put their whole heart into it. How different could coffee taste? I don't know, but I'm just telling you, it was different. There was something in there. That's what Hashem wants from us. Hashem wants us to give Him. We keep asking Him, please give me, give me. And we have to ask Hashem to give us, because who else are we going to ask? Only Hashem is in charge of giving. Hashem is in charge of this world. But the truth is, we have to give Him. We have to give Him our heart. We have to give Him our devotion. We have to give Him our thanks for every single thing that happens to us. The tzaddik, the Yanuka, people always want to give him gifts. And he has certain things that people know that he likes. He likes very old books. If you have an old, ancient book, you want to make a tzaddik happy, contact me and I'll tell you how to do it. He likes very, very old, and he has a collection of ancient books and manuscripts and handwritten stuff, and he likes all that. And he also likes fragrances. He's searching for like a fragrance. He loves fragrances. Anyway, people are always bringing him stuff. And the truth is that, that every time they bring, every few weeks, there's another, the Rabbanit says, she opened up once her pot cabinet, her pots, and there were no pots there. There was just more svarim. He has no place to put them. And he has like he has a shul. They've made another room in the shul for his books, and the house, and the other house. And I don't know where else he keeps his books. But anyway, people are always bringing him things. And so he once said, if you want to give me a gift, you want to bring me a gift, and everybody was like at the edge of their seat, ready to run out and whatever he said, be the first one to bring him that gift. He said, if you want to bring me a gift, show me that you're happy. Be besimcha. That's my gift. Come besimcha. Be happy. And say, Hodul Hashem ki tov, ki la'olam chasdu. Every day now people are coming and thanking him for different miracles, and he blesses people, and he keeps saying it's not his miracles. He just tells people to daven, to pray. But in shul, every single day, people are lining up to say thank you. People are also lining up to say please, because as the line is, more people are coming to say please, because there's a whole bunch of people saying thank you, so they want to come be in that thank you line. So anyway, whenever anybody comes with a miracle story, he calls out Hodel Hashem Ki Tov, and everybody who's around him knows to say Kila Olam Chasto. He says it a few times. So Hashem wants our heart. He wants us to serve him. He wants us to just get out of our ego and to serve him and to be helpful to other people. Listen, we also have to know boundaries. You can't be helpful to everybody all the time, because then that's not healthy either. It's not healthy to yourself. You have to know what your boundaries are. That's why the two sefirot are Chesed and Gevurah. Chesed is kindness, and Gevurah is limitations. Putting boundaries. Okay, ladies. So I'm gonna wish you all a good day and a good Shabbos. And sorry that I'm so sound so schwach. Baruch Hashem, I'm feeling a little bit better. Bezrat Hashem. Also, we have to daven for these. A lot of people who need refuah shlema. I have on my table Esther Basara. Needs refuah shlema. Yehuda Ben Bittel needs refuah shlema. It's a cousin of mine. And everybody could say the names that they want to say. Who else needs refuah shlema? Well, everybody said the names that they want to say. And all the shuvuyim and all their families. The ones who are freed and their families. Everybody, Hashem, the Sheikh needs refuah shlema because he's not here yet. He's very, very much wants to be here already and help everyone. Okay, have a good Shabbos. Thank you for coming. Oh yeah, I was saying also. 1 second. There's a couple that wants to come back and make Aliyah. So I'm gonna have them in mind. They're gonna actually next week. Kissy, you have somebody to sponsor the shiur next week. Be in touch with me, and I'll send you the contact info. Make your life easier. They want to come back. They were living here in Israel, and they had to leave, and they want to very much come back. So I'm having them in mind, along with everybody who needs whatever they need. Everybody should have everybody should also have their own heart's desires fulfilled and give their heart back to Hashem. Bezrat Hashem. Okay, I'm going to turn off before I blow my nose again. I'm going to turn off the shiur. You don't have to be subjected to it 3 times. Thank you, Gitzi. Thank you, Yehudis. Thank you, Rebbe Tzivachel. Thank you before Olivia was on. And thank you, I saw whoever was on before. And thank you all the YouTube people who are on. I can't see who you are, but you're here. Thank you for coming. You should have a good day and a good week and a good Shabbos.
And a good day to you.
Amen. Thank you.